So in this video I'm gonna show you what I plan on doing with my tomatoes. There's a lot of growth in here, and so what I'm gonna apply is what is known as hard pruning, and that is we're going to come through from the bottom of the plant and start eliminating every single arm that does not have fruit. And so, for example, this leafy growth, we're going to go ahead and cut it off, and we're only going to leave the arms that have fruit on it, vegetables. So, for example, we're going to cut out this one here, we're going to cut out this arm right here, and so the hope is so that I can thin this area out so that it allows for more air movement and also some light. Now, anything that is higher up in the plant, I'm going to leave. So just the lower portion where I know perhaps maybe 3 feet from the top, so that the arms can still produce the energy that's needed so that new shoots and new growth can continue and new fruit branches can come out. But down below, I think they've served their purpose, and like I said, it's known as hard pruning. So we're going to go ahead and do that on my small tomato variety, and also you can see in here to our tomato plants right here, the heirloom ones. So let me get started and get some of this growth removed, and then I'll give you an update of what it looks like afterwards. So I'm down in here and I just wanted to show you I've been able to trim off the lower branches here, and as you can see in here we've got, you know, a very densely populated branches. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the leaves in here, and again I'll make sure that I show a video of the after so that you can kind of get an idea of how this whole area will open up, hopefully, once I trim off the lower branches. And hopefully that energy then can be pushed towards producing new fruit. In order to gain access to that corner so that I could go about trimming the plants, I had to kind of move my tomato plants out of the way. And the beautiful thing about having them on the hook is you can unhook and move them over. And so you can see I can drape the tomato plant easily out of my way. And you can see here's another one right here that is leaning, and I've hooked it up to that plant. So essentially making this area open so that I could gain access to this side and trim the tomato plants in here. Just wanted to point out one of the benefits that I think I have to having you know, grown these tomatoes on a suspended rope. In the process of me trimming the tomato plants, one of the things that I'm doing is I'm leaving the shoots that have all of the fruit on it. However, for this particular tomato plant, a lot of these end up sprouting a whole new plant on another arm. Here's an example of this one. There's another example of another one here where you've got tomatoes, and then at the end of this thing I'm starting to get a whole new plant. So what I'm doing is, in order to keep the growth going upwards so that I have new growth up on top with more fruit there, I am going to be trimming these new growth points wherever they grow. So this one here will get trimmed right there. This one here will get trimmed right here. Even though it has already started flowering, actually I may leave this one here and just simply do this. That's basically it. And so for this one here, we're just going to go ahead and clip it right there. So in the process of me trying to hang these tomatoes on an angle, I've noticed on this tomato plant, literally all of the clusters are on this side of the tomato plant, and so everything was hanging down below. And so I ended up having to rig them up with strings so that these arms are all supported. And so what I did was I basically strung them up, and then I wrapped the rope all the way around the plant up. Same thing, tied them down here, and then I took the extra string and I wrapped it pretty much up through here. You can see a double rope, so that there was some type of slip resistance as well being added. The right product for this would be to get those plastic hooks, which are known as, I think they're called branch supports or something like that. I'll leave a link in the video down below. So I'm gonna look for them online, buy those, and so what you end up doing is you end up hooking the branch and then you tie it back to the rope, and it's just basically you hook the branch and you hook to the line, and that hooking onto the line causes that to become taut. With tying knots, what ends up happening is it slips. No matter what you do with your knots, it's just kind of keeps slipping for me. And so that's why I ended up tying the knot here. Then for the rest of them I ended up just simply, you know, going up the plant and then tying them off at near the top, so it had some type of slip resistance and then a knot on top. So as you can see, I've done some hula loops around the branches so that you know, I have proper support on multiple branches. Here I kind of had to do like a you know, a triangular thing where I had to grab that branch, grab that one, and then come up. So I'm gonna start using the other product. This is very, very much time consuming, and that hook should make it a lot easier. So I'll make sure that I also leave that in the comments below, and then once I use them, I'll give you guys an update as to what my feelings are about these hooks. And you can see I've got a grasshopper here, so I'm gonna grab him and relocate him so that he leaves my garden. I'm not sure if he's good or bad news. Let me know down below in the comments if you know, and then we'll just go from there. We've lost only one tomato plant, and I'll show that to you. So I had some extra tomato plants that I had put into a pot, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and transplant that. I know it's really small, it's a little late in the season, but you know what, I'm going to take this out of a pot and we're going to stick it into this spot right here. So right here is where we lost one of our tomato plants. So it took me about a half a day to get all of this area cleaned out. You can kind of see on the ground here, this is pretty much dried up, so it's been out here for about a day. And then we have another small pile here, which is a little bit more fresh from last night. But we have been able to pretty much clear out this whole area. You could not see through here if you look at the images in the earlier part of this video. And you can see that we have thinned out everything by using hard pruning, where we're eliminating everything to the bottom of the new growth. Some of them I probably could have trimmed a little bit more higher, but I'm just going to leave it for now. And you can kind of see in here, you know, we're removing all of the green growth and leaving it till the last couple of feet of the plant. Here are some of our bumblebee tomatoes. I've got quite a bit of the bottom removed. I'm leaving about the last 2 feet of what's there. That back corner, you could not see anything at all. Now you can kind of see the shape of the tomato plant right there. Got another one right here that I've leaned. So I can come through here and kind of show you the view looking through. And so when we looked through here last time, there was nothing we could see through. So like I said, tomato plant missing here. This is the last one on the row. You can kind of see how long this has really grown. And it's pretty much reached the top, and so sticking it in there is not the right thing to do. So I may take this and tie it a little further up as well, so it's more horizontal. So the other thing that I did here is I ended up leaning all of the plants on an angle. So you can kind of see everything here. I ended up adding extensions on the last two so that I could get the plants to come out and get a little bit more sun. So instead of wrapping them around, which was the original intent, and going backwards in, the front ones did not grow that long yet for me to wrap them around. So what I'm doing is I'll allow these front ones to grow a little bit more taller. Not necessarily these ones here, but especially on these ones here, it's noticeable. So I've got to get a lot more height in order to be able to wrap them back in. You can see the stalk here is very thick, so don't want to break anything on here. However, the ones in the back, we can see that they've grown very tall, and so the issue is the same with this one here, with the last three in these 3 rows. And as you can see, what I've done here is I've tied them to the back rail. I've tied them to the back rail as well again, and then I've taken a steeper angle. So you can see this one here comes all the way out there. And so if you look at the one in the back, you've got the same scenario where it's pretty much reaching out, and we've got it pretty much horizontal. I'm hoping that I can get more growth on some of these right here, so that I can then take that one and loosen it, and then have a more of an angle where I can bring it out here, and then hopefully start wrapping it back and going backwards. I do have to deal with this peach tree. We're gonna have to figure that out as we go along, but for now I think I've cleaned up the tomato plants pretty nicely, and I think they're turning out pretty good. The key is to get your stuff planted into the ground as early as possible, so that you have proper height. So we've got a lot of flowers that are going to be coming out. In this whole process, I did end up breaking my tomato plant here, which was a lead growth, so obviously we're losing some limbs. So hopefully another one will shoot out somewhere here, and then we'll let it continue on, and then I'll nip this one off. On to the other side, you can see that I've trimmed out quite a bit of the leaves. We don't have many heirlooms. It was way too congested down here, so I'm pretty sure the fact that there was no air getting through, no air circulation, I'm not sure if the bees ever got a chance to come in here and pollinate. So as you can see, this one only has 1 tomato. It's got a baby one right there, and the back 2 don't show any signs of tomatoes. So lost production due to the fact that everything was so tight. You've got the Florida weave area right here. I've gone through and thinned this out as well. Removed a lot of the vegetation. This will hopefully allow for air to flow through. I still have some in here to clean up, but I do see some more, at least, tomatoes in the back. So I'm gonna continue on and thin this area out here. Our tomatillos, the 3 plants, they've exceeded the height here, and I've gone ahead and tucked them back into the Florida weave, all the arms that had come out. Clearing this area out really gave me my walking space between the plants back again, and the ability of getting some sun again. And so here I've also pruned away the leaves on this tomato plant right here. So this one's made some pretty good headway. I've got a few suckers down here that are coming out. I'm gonna leave these suckers Again, I'm hoping that some of these, the second plant takes off a little bit more. I've got literally no tomato on that. So hopefully with this opening up and me pushing some of my tomatillos back that way, because they were all leaning, I guess, towards the sun. So hopefully this gives it some more room to grow and naturally yield us some flowers so we can get some tomatoes before the end of this season here. I've got some flowers that are happening right here, so looking forward to it. Right there. So that's basically it. So this is kind of like the view from the bottom looking upwards. So this is the end of July update on our tomato plants that I've planted along this trellis system. This concludes our video. I hope that this material and information has been useful to you. If you have any questions, please ask down below and I'll do my best to answer them in a timely fashion. Please help me out to take advantage of the YouTube algorithms by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Thank you for watching.